Welcome, friends. Just bringing you along on a little journey here in the Texas Hill Country. The beautiful, scenic, perfect day, about 85 degrees, sunny skies.
Take my hand, don't be afraid, I'm gonna prove every word I say. I'm baptizing love for free, so you can place your hands on me. Oh, they come along and down by the dozen, I ain't nothing but kissing love. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle closer, mama, I'm sure the hand and I get around. Yeah, all the best now.
Just got on the trail, and we're going to avoid the popular locations, you know, the fun swim beach where everybody's at down there. We're going to go walk and find the hidden gems. That's how we roll, off the beaten path, road less traveled by. However, I did already receive one comment as I was walking onto the trail. The girl said, she said, "Wow, you're gonna go barefoot? You're hardcore." Yeah, I just said, "Oh, it's just conditioning. It takes a while to get that way." I just started doing it, and before long, I could do it without too much pain or discomfort. Of course, if you step on a real sharp rock, or if you have an 85-pound dog that likes to chase lizards, sometimes you'll go skiing, and that can be, well, that can be. But you just got to roll with the punches, deal with it. You know, it's very rewarding. My feet are super tough now, my balance has improved. But furthermore, it's taught me some wisdom. Wisdom from Proverbs of Solomon. He says, "Fix your eyes straight ahead of you and watch where you're placing your feet. Each step you take to avoid danger." Well, if you walk barefoot, it's almost an ingrained reaction that you do that. If not, you're liable to step on something that's very harmful. So it's a way to instill the wisdom of Solomon through deeds, through actions. We've been having storms out here a lot, and I'm having to use the 4x4 all-terrain feature on my F2 feet. Yeah, a little mud on there. It's actually good. Keep a coating to help prevent ant bites and insect bites that might want to get me. Fortunate that mud hole was. More. It's truly God's country. Oh, look at this beautiful little wildflower on the side of the trail. Isn't that pretty? Wow. Here we've got the fairies, aka the butterflies, blessing us. Taking this hike beforehand to a special cave that I'm sure has been occupied or visited by local Native Americans for thousands of years, to have it dissolved. And then I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna bathe in the flowing waters. And as I come out of the flowing waters, my soul is going to be risen anew to soar up to the sky just like that beautiful bird. Never underestimate your own ability, your own strength, your own potential. Look at this tree right here, this split tree. Now, do you think when this tree was just a wee sapling, like this guy over here, that if you told it, hey, one day, little sapling, one day you're going to be big and strong enough that you can support this gigantic boulder beside you on your back, no problemo. That little branch would have said, "You're crazy, man." But then you flash forward and you see exactly that. This giant tree is now holding back that enormous boulder, temporarily at least, from its progress down into its journey of disillusion, until finally it's nothing more than a single grain of sand on a beach somewhere. This is just pretty. It's like a ball of living, purple, beautiful, pink-ish awesomeness. These little bugs are having a meal, having a little feast. It feels amazing too. Wow. Some climbers attacking pretty gnarly root. He's got it whipped, I think. What I've noticed about darkness in the cave is that those who come from the light and try to penetrate the darkness stumble around, blind and helpless. However, those who live in the dark can see quite clearly, and it's almost comical how blind the creatures from the light are when they try to enter the dark. However, when a creature who's from the dark enters the light, his light blindness go away. He won't have to stumble around like a fool, blindly groping and hoping. Lesson to be learned here: start from a place of ignorance scientifically, ask questions. That way you can be exposed to the light. Don't think that you already have the truth or you'll never find it. Okay, I just want to grab my Bible and open it to the first thing that was there. I'm in the back of the cave, and I turned to Jonah, written in 785 BC. Jonah runs from the Lord. The Lord gave this message to Jonah, son of Amittai: "Get up and go to the great city of Nineveh. Announce my judgment against it, because I have seen how wicked its people are." But Jonah got up and went the opposite direction in order to get away from the Lord. He went down to the sea coast to the port of Joppa, where he found a ship leaving for Tarshish. He bought a ticket and went on board, hoping that by going away to the west he could escape from the Lord. But as the ship was sailing along, suddenly the Lord flung a powerful wind over the sea, causing a violent storm, and threatened to send them to the bottom. Fearing for their lives, the desperate sailors shouted out to their gods for help and threw the cargo overboard to lighten the ship. And all this time Jonah was sound asleep down in the hold, so certain The captain went down after him. "How can you sleep at a time like this?" he shouted. "Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will have mercy on us and spare our lives." Then the crew cast lots to see which of them had offended the gods and caused a terrible storm. When they did this, Jonah lost the toss. "What have you done to bring the awful storm down on us?" they demanded. "Who are you? What is your line of work? What country are you from? What is your nationality?" And Jonah answered, "I am a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land." Then he told them that he was running away from the Lord. The sailors were terrified when they heard this. "Oh, why did you do it?" he groaned. And since the storm was getting worse all the time, he asked him, "Why should we do it? What should we do to you to stop this storm? Throw me into the sea, and it will become calm again, for I know this terrible storm is all my fault." Instead, the sailors tried even harder to row the boat ashore, but as the stormy sea was too violent for them, and they couldn't make it, then they cried out to the Lord, Jonah's God. "O Lord," they pleaded, "don't make us die for this man's sin, and don't hold us responsible for his death, because it isn't our fault. O Lord, you have sent the storm upon him for your own good reasons." Then the sailors picked Jonah up and threw him into the raging sea, and the storm stopped at once. The sailors went awestruck by the Lord's great power, and they offered him a sacrifice and vowed to serve him. Now the Lord had arranged for a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from inside the fish. He said, "I cried out to the Lord in my great trouble, and he answered me. I called to you from the world of the dead, and Lord, you heard me. You threw me into the ocean depths, and I sank down to the heart of the sea. I was buried beneath your wild and stormy waves. Then I said, O Lord, you have driven me from your presence. How will I ever again see your holy temple? I sank beneath the waves, and death was very near. The waters closed in around me, and seaweed wrapped itself around my head. I sank down to the very roots of the mountains. I was locked out of life and imprisoned in the land of the dead. But you, O Lord my God, have snatched me from the yawning jaws of death. When I had lost all hope, I turned my thoughts once more to the Lord, and my earnest prayer went out to you in your holy temple. Those who worship false gods turn their backs on all God's mercies. But I will offer sacrifices to you with songs of praise, and I will fulfill all my vows, for my salvation comes from the Lord alone." Then the Lord offered the fish to spit up Jonah on the beach, and it did. Jonah then goes to Nineveh. Then the Lord spoke to Jonah a second time, "Get up and go to the great city of Nineveh and deliver the message of judgment I have given you." This time Jonah obeyed the Lord's command and went to Nineveh, a city so large it took 3 days to see it. And on the day Jonah entered the city, he shouted to the crowds, 40 days from now Nineveh will be destroyed." The people of Nineveh believed God's message, and from the greatest to the least they decided to go without food and wear sackcloth to show their sorrow. When the king of Nineveh heard what Jonah was saying, he stepped down from his throne and took off his royal robes. He dressed himself in sackcloth and sat on a heap of ashes. Then the king and his nobles sent this decree throughout the city: "No one, not even the animals, may eat or drink anything at all. Everyone is required to wear sackcloth and pray earnestly to God. Everyone must turn from their evil ways and stop all their violence. Who can tell, perhaps even yet God will have pity on us and hold back his fierce anger from destroying us." When God saw this, that they'd put a stop to their evil ways, he had mercy on them and didn't carry out the destruction he had threatened. This change of plans made Jonah upset, and he became angry with the Lord. So he complained to the Lord about it. "Didn't I say before I left home that you would do this, Lord? That's why I ran away to Tarshish. I knew that you were a gracious and compassionate God, slow to get angry and filled with unfailing love. I know how easily you could cancel your plans for destroying these people. Just kill me now, Lord. I'd rather be dead than alive, because nothing I predicted is going to happen." The Lord replied, "Is it right for you to be angry about this?" Then Jonah went out to the east side of the city and made a shelter to sit under, and he waited to see if anything would happen to the city. And the Lord God arranged for a leafy plant to grow there, and soon it spread its broad leaves over Jonah's head, shading him from the sun. This eased some of his discomfort, and Jonah was very grateful for the plant. Cannabis. But Jonah also prepared a worm. The next morning at the dawn, the worm ate through the stem of the plant, so that it soon died and withered away. As the sun grew hot, God sent a scorching east wind to blow on Jonah. The sun beat down on his head until he grew faint and wished to die. "Death is certainly better than this," he exclaimed. Then God shouted to Jonah, "Is it right for you to be angry because the plant died?" "Yes," Jonah retorted, "even angry enough to die." Then the Lord said, "You feel sorry about that plant, though you did nothing to put it there, and the plant is only at best short-lived. But Nineveh has more than 120,000 people living in spiritual darkness, not to mention all the animals. Shouldn't I feel sorry for such a great city?" story that's a precursor to the revelation of John. It's a story about shamanism and theogenation, the growth, individuation process, life and death, rebirth. It also encodes a lot of mysteries about where certain fungi, Zooxanthella, Zeus, grows, whales. Come along with me for my baptizing. This beautiful first one home. And I'm going to bathe in the flowing waters. And as I come out of the flowing waters, my soul is going to be risen anew to soar up to the sky just like that beautiful bird. I hope that this will help you lift and rise and fly as well